it's made the entire analysis and the way we look at data and analysis very differently when you have to go through multiple sources and the data has to look into it. So I think to start with, I would request each panelist if they can introduce yourself first, just give a briefing about yourself and then maybe we can start the questions.
Hi, good morning to one and all, and quite an interesting morning discussion by the various companies on AI. So the first topic is AI. So my name is Krishna and I'm the country head for finance and sustainability for Ascot India. We are in the business of hospitality and we are a subsidiary of CapitaLand and Temasek, and we are based out of Singapore. Our corporate office for India is in Chennai, and have been in the hospitality industry for about 25 years now. So I have gone through the transition of writing the debits and credits in paper and then today coming to a computer. So yeah, that's me. Thank you so much.
This is Kishore. I am from Beckham Infra Hyderabad. I am a corporate finance professional, ex-banker. Been into finance for a good amount of time, 25 years. So I have the experience of the corporate finance, banking, credit, investment banking. Not into AI, I'm just learning and being part of this. This has given an opportunity to understand what it is, to get briefed about it. I think I learn more now in this panel discussion.
Good morning to all. This is Ganesh Shankar Raman. I am from the company called Sridhar Technologies, and we are into ICT company, Information and Communication Technology company. I have 25 plus years of experience. I'm basically a chartered accountant and cost accountant. AI is okay. Everybody is the early stage of AI. Don't worry about that. As long as you have another AI called actual intelligence, there is no problem.
Yeah, good morning everyone. My name is Jitendra Jain. So I'm from a company called Sukazov. We are into agri-tech. So we are the people who basically empowering those farmers and retailers at the front end and bringing technology at the core in terms of integrating and providing solutions to those guys. Thank you.
To start with the discussion, I think I'll start first with you, Krishna. Mr. Prasanna, what role does AI play for optimizing revenue, automation, and analytics in tax and finance? Now, AI can be viewed, do you view it as an advantage or as a threat when it comes to analyzing these initiatives?
Okay, so before we move to AI, let's talk something before AI. So there is this term called digitization, and there is a term called digitalization. So before AI, we were in the stage of digitization, which basically meant transferring your manual data, scanning it, and keeping it. So that is also can be viewed as one form of AI. The initial stages of AI, let's say. Then we were all very happy, I don't have to keep my records, it's all available on my laptop, and wow, we used to wow about it, and so then that was digitization. Then came digitalization, which currently is nothing but artificial intelligence or AI. Now what is digitalization? The data is available somewhere on the cloud hanging around you, and artificial intelligence is used to retrieve it and then give it to you. We have multiple companies who are helping us with GST reconciliation and things like that. So all of them use AI, artificial intelligence. Now I can always say it is artificial, it's not real. That's one way of looking at it. Or we can look at it as artificial intelligence. So it all depends on what you want. You want to take the first word, it's artificial, so it's not real. If it is intelligence, you take it that it's intelligent and it's going to work for you. So I think in terms of whether it is a threat or whether it's an advantage depends on us as finance professionals and employers as to how we empower our people to look at it. If you are the head of an organization or head of a department and you have 10 people working under you, I think the first thing they should be aware of is that they are not going to lose their job. Because if that is what is the mindset of the people that you're going to carry, any form of AI will be a threat not only to them, it will be a threat to you, it will not work. So I think in a larger sense, it is not a threat, it is going to stay. The only thing is that we need to empower our people to look at it as an intelligent tool which they can use to their disadvantage. In the morning we have people like Anil and others talk about how a mundane kind of work can be, you can use AI to make it more interesting for your staff below so that they can learn something better. So on the whole, in a nutshell, if you want to look at it, I would personally look at it as only the way you want to portray it to your people who are working under you or to the organization. So it is not a threat, it is definitely an advantage. But the core point which I want to again stress upon is, if you are going to view it as a threat, your staff below is going to view it as a threat. So I think it's very important that what you tell your staff, what you portray your staff, you don't tell them that you're not going to lose your job, buddies. You want to do something that's going to be more interesting for you. So I think that's in a nutshell what I'd like to say, Anil.
Just add a spin to what I heard in one of these sessions when we were talking about AI. The global head of Mahindra, and the use of AI when these notices are being served out. They read the data of MCA along with the GST and send the notices to the directors. And that's where he said that AI now, while it's good, they are doing their job of trying to understand where the gaps are, but the kind of challenges that it is throwing up is far more different.
Just to add to what he said, so it is that human intervention is definitely going to be there, because if it is at the end of the day, it's an artificial intelligence that works on analytics and it works on some kind of program that has been written. So if it is not verified at the initial stages, it's going to throw data which are going to be gibberish. So I think what you rightly said, Anil, is that it will keep sending emails and emails and emails when you really don't have that real data in front of you which is correct. So the stage one, if it is done correctly, I don't see it to be a threat at all.
I think the gap here is that someone is using AI, we are not. So if we are at par with this, because data in the day is same, MC has got my balance sheet only is lying up there. It is just that once I start relating it with the same set across the board, it becomes far more easy. Now, to you now, Dr. Kishore, I'm sure everyone in the room has a lot of questions related to notices. And at the end of the day, with notices comes that critical set of data that I want to furnish, which I call it evidence. Now, do you think and how do you ensure that the ERP systems have the required data for tax planning and its efficiency for compliance? And how can particularly address related to notices?
Firstly, as you have given a beautiful presentation explaining single source of truth or whatever, single source. So it's a single source what can save all these issues. As Sridhar has explained, AI has been there for quite some time. In fact, Google search is AI, the Toffler is AI. These are all AI. In fact, when the passport system was digitized, as digitalization was explained earlier, there was an AI tool, not called as AI, but was inbuilt, where once you feed the data, it gets repeated in multiple places. And if there is any incompatibility of data elsewhere typed afresh as required by the menu, then it pops up that there is something. Today, even the small monkey surveys, all those things, if you see also, somewhere you give a different answer, it pops up and there is incompatibility, kindly review, go back and then rectify. These are all AI tools. Actually, AI will help in ensuring quality data. So if only we have an ERP system which is reasonably tested and is used, it can capture data as single source. Firstly, the single source is a good thing which can ensure quality data. Data being quality. Is it genuine, ingenuine? Whatever we feed is genuine. Whatever we want to present is genuine. Today tax authorities are asking us, how much turnover are you posting? Not achieving. And what is the profit you are showing? And what is the return you have now worked upon? So they are not the questions, the actual track. They are asking us trickily. We also answer trickily. But the moment quality data is fed, be it without AI or very efficiently with AI, which is today the order of the day, we address all these notice issues. And should there be a notice? Yes. So long as there is consistency in replying, whether what we give is right, wrong, or whatever, the consequences will be far lower. That much I can say.
Yes, Mr. Ganesh. With the graduate of data available now from the government, how do you perceive that the industry is able to cope up this entire thing in terms of responding to the issues of the transfer pricing?
Nice question. And why you should only do the transfer pricing, even for responses to the notices as well. So AI is a tool actually. It's like electricity. How you are using the electricity is entirely on you. If it is not managed properly, it will give shocks. If it is managed properly, it will give bright light. So it depends upon how you are utilizing this tool. And I'll just elaborate this question not only for transfer pricing. Transfer pricing deals with something between the two companies' transactions. But in terms of notices also, I'd like to add whatever the speakers have already added. That the notices is being issued based on the returns being filed by the assessee, by themselves, and it is picking and choosing based on the random numbers, based on this some of the reductions being availed. Over a period of time, you can also have some AI. There will be a tool in another 5 years of time, I suppose, that if you feed the queries or the notices you have issued, if you put the notice, it will give you the answer itself. So that it just give the response to the department itself. If you have all the data, because you are going to create a response based on the facts only, all the facts are available either in the ERP form or in the form of Excel word. If you feed all the information, if you have received any query or any sort of notices, you feed the notice, you can get the response based on the facts. Something like how much of forex payment has been made, how much of fixed has been capitalized, how much of capitalization of interest being made. Everything is available in your ERP itself. So why should we have some other department of direct access to create a response? How many of us are using ChatGPT? That itself is a creation that how much of AI, the growth has seen for the last 10 years. If we are searching anything in the Flipkart or Google, it gives what are the other things people are already seeing it. If you are looking at any sort of film, then you can get the film related information altogether. That is also AI. Now we have seen so much of improvement in terms of AI implementation. My opinion is that not only for transfer pricing, all the transactions are linked into the company will be thrown by way of AI. All exceptional report at your end can be triggered. And if there is a notice which is being received by you, then you will be in a position to give the response based on AI. So as I started with the actual intelligence, another AI, is required that what information you want to focus on. There are n number of data, n number of information, n number of documents. Which documents are required to be taken for the purpose of getting the output which is relevant for you. Otherwise, you'll just be carried away with the number of outputs, then they cannot give the results as such. So, coming back to that particular point of transfer pricing, where A company deals with B company, and prices relating to this has to have the history of transaction that has been made in the past. Suppose you are creating a story, you are creating a history saying that how the transfer pricing has been made, you cannot change
the view of the transaction after that. After a few years, we cannot change entirely. So in order to have the continuity, in order to have a principle being followed for transfer pricing, I think AI is going to be there. I'll give you only one point. In fact, I told my colleague a few years ago that in the case of individuals, we are filing returns on individual basis. If all the data is available in the system by the department is having a PAN number linked deposits, PAN number linked purchases. If you are buying something, it is PAN number linked. If you are buying through Google Pay, it is also PAN linked. So government is aware of all the transactions being made by us. So why I should file the return? I am not giving any further information which is not being captured in the return itself. So what I should say that I should just click this amount and pay the tax. I told my colleague a few years ago, now it is happening. If I am putting a deposit somewhere else, I thought that nobody will know. It is coming as an interest, it has been credited to the account in the return itself. What I am doing, I have to pay tax, the amount also being calculated. So I don't require anybody's help. That is the growth of AI we have seen. So it is not only for transfer pricing, I think most of the things will happen in the years to come. Much intensely, much deeper.
Thanks, Ganesh. Now, Jitendra, with respect to AI, what are the measures for risk management and fraud detection in financial year?
I take it on a broader basis, not only tax, I'll take it on a finance level basis. So see, when we talk of AI, which is being very prominently used nowadays, but at the end of the day, it's a probability and it's a logic which is derived by it's a derivative of what humans have put in as a logic. So unless and until you have put in a logic which actually derives a factor which you want to actually assess, you'll never get the right result. And it's a technology which is used to measure or assess or monitor certain data. So if you do not put the right kind of logic, you are not going to get the right kind of result. So there are kind of two risks which we generally assess. One is a pervasive risk, which is like when we see is this risk going to address at a company level, or is this going to at an operational level? So when you do not have a right kind of definition or right kind of AI tool, you are going to end up in resulting into a tool which you are using just for the sake of it. So the idea or the measures which you should take is basically when as an organization, the leaders which should have a proper sort of communication channels, they should have a proper leaders who are able to address it, and a proper team and a brainstorming session when they are actually identifying the AI tool or the AI logic which is going to be developed. We are a technology company end to end. So for us, we have developed a technology wherein we do the testing on an algorithm basis, deep learning basis for a product itself at the grain level. We have a complete supply chain mechanism wherein the complete data flows from the order placement to the end of delivery, everything happens in system. So the second pervasive risk which we need to basically address or mitigate is in terms of the system. So the cyber risk becomes a very critical aspect for a company to address. So I think these are the two pervasive risks for which company needs to take adequate measures in terms of placing right kind of controls, systems, in terms of addressing those kind of things. At an operational level, what I think is in terms of, so there are two aspects. One is in terms of normal risks, which are like operational risks in terms of movement of goods or in terms of expenses which are being incurred at a higher level. Because the organization grows or it becomes at a multitude level, so either it is growing at a national level or it is growing at a global level. So there are multiple multiple tax factors as we are discussing. Then there are multiple, because every state has a different kind of environment. Every every city or every place where you are functioning, there are kind of different ways of functioning. So those kind of operational risks needs to be mitigated, and as I said, when you have a management who is actually taking right kind of measures or communication channel which it is addressing in terms of, or maybe developing a tool which is actually communicating in that kind of way, and the process level implementation of AI is taken care of, that is where it helps in terms of addressing the right kind of risks.
Krishna, will come back to you again. When it comes to cross-border taxation issues, specifically applications of double taxation avoidance agreements, what are your thoughts and how AI can help into the implementation of this double taxation avoidance agreements?
Okay, so specific to DTA, but I think it can be a generic thing, which is not very much limited, like Ganesh was saying, not limited to just tax. So before we get that, I would like to share something very interesting. Anybody here is aware of a country called Estonia? So Estonia is a country in Northern Europe. It is a branch off of Russia. If anybody would be aware, 99% of their entire transactions across happen through AI. There are only 3 transactions there is no AI. Marriage, divorce, real estate. No, it's a truth. It's a truth. You can put up Estonia and then talk of, if you see, that is the first country in the world where 99% of the transactions are happening through AI. Like Ganesh was saying, there are only 3 buttons you need to click to file your individual tax return. Though we have an Aadhaar or US has got a social security number and stuff like that, the president of Estonia has been asked for and called for by the US to see how their systems can be better automated through AI. But anyway, that's the funny part of it. But coming back to DTA or any kind of tax, here I feel AI can only play a fairly limited role. That's my personal view on it. It can be only used for data assimilation or accumulation of data. Because there's a lot of human intervention that is required and human mind that needs to be put into it to see how a DTA application is there, whether there is a DTA application, which country is the DTA with. Like for example, in our organization, because we are headquartered in Singapore, we have a DTA only with Singapore and also partly with Malaysia. Whereas AI, it is, I think, fairly difficult for an AI or for somebody to build an AI tool to come out with what is the DTA impact and what is the taxes you need to take credit of when you are actually paying DTA. So I think AI in the limited space of DTA can only use for data assimilation and throwing out reports or any kind of data which is required to further process the DTA. So here I feel AI is kind of got a limited scope. Maybe going down, because see the funny part is India is the most complicated. I was just speaking to Anil outside and he said if we can develop something that we can work in India, it can work in any part of the world. So with such complications, I feel this AI got a limited scope in the DTA spectrum.
Thank you. Shoji, what are your perspectives on an AI-based litigation management?
AI can play a fantastic role. In fact, even today, as we working as a part of assignment with few councils, exchanging information on the part of company, on the part of government departments, we are finding few councils who are very smart, like you. They have some tools, I don't know what tool they have some packages, which as they type the section 269C, they get all the latest judgments and with layers. AO level, assessing officer, appeal level, then court, high court and Supreme Court. And if there is any difference by virtue of review, that also is being displayed. So for you to build upon your case in your appeal, it becomes very easy if you get the latest judgment. You don't need to discover the whole truth or the chain and then establish, yes, this is. You don't need to prove. Now, we know the res judicata, the stare decisis, all those things which are the principles governing even Supreme Court. So what is adjudged will not be written unless the facts are different, logic is different, unless it is reviewed in the larger interest. Therefore, AI can play a fantastic role in building us, in giving us a track of what is the latest judgment and what are the facts, are they relevant, if they are the same. We can just copy, so as you said, we can shamelessly copy and then we can use it. Why not? And it helps us. In fact, yesterday we were having one discussion with UK team, which is in India and Hyderabad, discussing on the immersion program into India. One guy was explaining, one lady and a gent was explaining, their tool can track the health record of your ancestors. into whatever possibility is possible, if they are available, and can give you what all ailments would you and your subsequent generations may meet with, unless you address these things. So imagine that kind of tool, it can do wonders. Healthcare industry may come down, I don't know if that would happen, but then this is the kind of scope for AI in litigation management.
Thank you. Mr. Ganesh, there is a lot of integration now happening between indirect tax and direct tax. What's the role of AI you foresee with respect to this comprehensive integration going forward?
Now, I don't think in another 5-6 years we will be having two departments, direct taxes and indirect taxes, even in our company itself. Because most of the things is, I would recollect that 20 years ago that the direct taxes department will have so many files on the right side, either relating to past years, and on the left side are the future years. So now there is no record at all. Principally there is no record at all. So everything is being done in the system and everything is being tracked in the system itself. And the growth of GST for the last 5 years, 5-6 years is extremely high. And to the extent that in another few years, GST will be done automatically by the system itself. So you need to do return station, whatever these people have narrated, it will be formed part of the GST portal itself. And please, if at all you are going to take the benefit out of this, the new system software and all, maybe in another 5-6 years. Next, after 5-6 years, then the GST portal itself will provide all this information. If a private person can create a sort of software, government also can do. So government will create a portal so that can be done automatically. Now the MCA portal doesn't have any link with the taxes. Tax portal doesn't have any link with the taxes. Over a period of time it will happen. Is what I feel. I need not file a return for MCA. If I file a return for MCA, then it should automatically goes to income tax department for checking and verification. That is also being done automatically by the system. These are all going to happen in our lifetime itself. In another 5-6 years, maximum. If it's going to be, if the velocity of transition is being made for the last 5-6 years, in another 6-7 years is going to happen. So at central level, at central government level, all the information are available in their portal itself. It is not going to be a separate department at all. My opinion, 2020, before COVID, 2020 came on the 3rd week of March. 1st of February 2020, central government announced a faceless assessment. Faceless assessment is, what do you mean by faceless assessment? You need not come to office, income tax office. You can respond by way of communication. You can respond by way of documentation by scanning the documentation. So that was really helpful during the period of COVID. So government is well ahead of what is happening in the market. I think that is going to be there for other department as well. So if one information being shared by an assessee to any one other person, whether it is going to be Provident Fund, it is going to be gratuity, it is going to be MCA website, it is going to be integrated, is what I feel. It is going to happen. Other thing is that the tax audit kind of thing, it is going to go away. It will not be there. Why we should have tax audit? Maybe 4 or 5 deductions will be there, and more so for depreciation as per income tax. That is the only thing. If you are adding that one more schedule in your returns, in your accounting, financial reporting itself, you may not require taxation. The government is phasing away all the deductions. Over a period of deduction is gone, then you don't require any tax audit per se. And all the information are available in the system itself. So to that extent, I am not saying that it is going to happen in few years, but anyway it will happen, and that the way it is, it is growing. And as he said that IBM has started 6 years ago. IBM has started AI-linked process wherein it will do the operation by robot better than 10 times better than human.
So if that's the pace at which it's happening. Suppose each one of us feeling that we are proud about what? We are proud about knowledge, we are proud about knowing the sections, rules, regulations, and maybe drafting response to the department, are able to communicate to the department in a better way. Maybe 4 or 5 points as skills, all the skills factors are available in AI itself. If somebody is in ChatGPT, they know that their ability to communicate to a person by way of written skills would be much better through ChatGPT, correct? You want to communicate anything. So it is going to be like all the department information will be available. If you make one file, it will get populated or updated in all the departments. That is going to come is what I feel.
Thank you. And the final one for you, Jitin. When implementing AI for finance and tax compliance process, specifically sectors like agri-tech and retail, what are the parameters that you would want to say to consider?
See, I think broadly what we generally do is, see from an AI perspective, there are 2 critical aspects. One is it a replacement or something, or is it an improvisation of the product or which is there. So let's say we have a tool wherein we have saved, like let's say 500 man hours of processing certain data, because everything is in technology. So is it just an improvisation or is it a replacement? So I think that is the first parameter which we assess in terms of when we are looking for an AI development or a new tool which we are looking in the market in that sense. I think secondly, what is important is the discussion or training and brainstorming between the team who is going to actually work on it or implement it. Because I think the person who is actually going to use it, or maybe the one who is going to actually have a monitoring parameters in terms of going forward, those are the people which should have an idea in terms of what is going to happen in terms of the tool which is going to be used. And I think third parameter which we generally look at in terms of, because we have like a larger population and large database in that sense, is in terms of integration with the systems. So that is a very important aspect, because what happens is, what I understand or what I have encountered is, or the data which I have referred is, almost in 70% of the cases the digital transformation projects get failed. So I think there is obviously a challenge in terms of how companies or maybe the teams who actually identify or implement those. So the actual challenge is in execution. So it is about identifying how you execute that. And what I understand from the experience over the years is, I think we should take it in a smaller step. So you may not do everything at one point in time. You don't need to implement a full software at one point in time. You can break it down into pieces and then actually implement it over a period of time. As we have done, I think we have broken down into, first we have taken up the product phase, where we are now ready to go. We have taken up the supply chain phase, where we are now ready to go. So I think we have broken it down, and after a point in time we are able to close it in a faster manner, and it is communicated in a better manner.
Thank you. I think AI and finance both are 2 oceans, and the combination part of it we keep discussing for the whole day. Just to relate from the same thing, if I take our example of tax, HSN determination and HSA assessment is one more thing. We started some work onto the same stuff of trying to put the description and doing it. We went one step back, we took a photograph. Based on that, worked out what the description could be. And then going forward, so the opportunities are endless when you talk to AI versus how you can implement in the entire thing. Thank you very much. Thank you all.